Good morning. Good Tuesday morning. It is a rainy day in Georgia for me. I hope you have better weather wherever you are. Thank you for joining us. If you're joining us live on this Tuesday morning at 10:30, thank you so much. And remember that you can leave questions or comments in the comment section. I'll be looking for those and our guests will address those. If you're watching a replay, thank you for doing that too. We hope you enjoyed the show. Today, we are talking with real live teens. We were so excited about this yesterday. We're like, we're going to have teens on. We talk about teens. We give advice. We give gossip and rumors and studies, but seldom do we actually talk to teens and have them give us the real. So we're very, very excited about this. And I'm super excited because these teens are my interns. They're summer interns. I had a nice pool of interns to pull from, and it just turned out that they're interns that I actually know, who rose to the top of the applicant pool. So that's very exciting for me. And they've been working hard. You're going to see the results of their work. Today, we're going to have a conversation. We're going to talk about what it's like to be a teen these days. I got a whole bunch of questions to ask them. You can ask them questions. They're going to tell us stuff. But we're doing this in preparation for a few weeks from now when I'm going to pass them the mic and the show is going to be theirs. You won't even see me unless they want me there. So it's going to be theirs. So if you have any suggestions on what they should do when I pass them the mic, you can also put those in the comment section and we'll be looking to those for those. Camy and Justin, hello, hello. Thank you for joining me. I know you were reluctant. Why don't we begin with you guys just introducing yourselves a little bit. We'll go in alpha order. So Camy, if you can tell our audience just a little bit about yourself.
Hi, I'm Camy. I just graduated from Paideia and I'm about to start college this coming fall. I guess some of my hobbies that I enjoy are art and soccer. So, pass the mic to you, Justin.
Hi, I'm Justin. I also go to Paideia. I'm a rising senior. I also love partaking in art, reading, and video games mostly.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so we're going to just jump right in. So after talking to parents, I've sourced a bunch of questions. I gave them the questions ahead of time because there are that many questions so that they can think about them and be comfortable. And we're just going to make our way through, not necessarily chronologically or anything like that, but we're just going to throw out some questions. When we were pre-gaming, we talked about a couple that they liked the most. So we're going to hit those first since those are the ones they like the most. And we're going to start with something that parents talk about all the time, and that's social media. Social media is, parents love it, they hate it, they use it for themselves, but they don't want their kids to use it, or you cannot use it this time or not, whatever. So I want you guys to tell me what are the good things about social media and the bad things about social media, especially in terms of teens. We're going to start with Justin because that was his question.
Yeah, so I think personally some of the good things about social media, I know I've been using like Instagram and Snapchat to keep up with some of my old friends from my older school. It's also good for like, I don't know, communicating, I guess. If you don't have someone's number, you see them through Instagram, you can connect with them. As for the bad things, I think social media can like cause people to like have an unrealistic expectation of what their life should be. When you're seeing people go this place or doing this thing or that thing, it could cause you to view yourself not in the same, or not value yourself as much because you're not doing those things and you're wondering what you could do instead of, you know, and worried about what other people are doing.
Do you get FOMO? I get FOMO watching social media. Like people are going on these great vacations, and because those are the people who are posting, right? It seems like everybody's going on vacation and buying cars and all that other stuff. Do you get FOMO?
Yeah, yeah. It's definitely I have like found myself like kind of like down sometimes. You're like, oh, all my friends are doing this and this, and I, keep wondering about what I'm doing and like what I could be doing instead of having my sights focused on something more important.
What about you, Camy? What are your thoughts on social media?
I like 100% agree with Justin. I guess some of the good parts I would also say are like I think social media is just kind of a way for people to like express themselves and like it helps people figure out like who they want to be and what type of character they are. Um, but then again, it is a way for people to like flex what they're doing, who they're hanging out with. But it's also a way like I think people I agree with Justin what they get distracted by like this ideal life that they could have and then it can backfire. It can cause them to like with body image issues. There's a lot to deal with that, and like with celebrities who are models and whatever, and they're like posting influencers and stuff like that. They're posting their like ideal picture perfect life, but also that's not even true coming from their end. So I think it like there's like a miscommunication thing that happens on social media where people see what they want. People only see what they want to see and give the public what they want to see.
So how much time do you spend on it?
Too much time, to be honest.
Do you think it's too much time? Do your
Yeah.
parents think it's too much time?
Heck yeah.
Yeah. You mentioned body image. Tell me more about that because that's something that a lot of parents worry about. And I did some of the episodes of Tuesdays with Kamira about that, about body image and how social media impacts it. I see it with people in my age group. I see people in my age group all of a sudden obsessing about their physical appearance, not their health, but their physical appearance. You know, they're working out 2.5 hours a day. They're getting plastic surgery. How is it trickling down to your generation?
I think it especially because 'cause we're teenagers, it kinda starts all, like I would say it starts in middle school because that's when you start to really, like, see yourself in the mirror and you're like, "Oh," and, like, you start making judgments based off of other people, and it can cause people to just have, like, it could just cause, like, really bad mental health issues, I think, for certain people, so that's what I think it happens for teenagers, um, yeah.
What are your thoughts on body image, Justin, or do you have any?
I think that so see, like what the standard of like what your body should look like has like definitely changed, and I believe that people all whenever whatever the image is, they're always going to try to or conform to that standard. And so, I feel like social media it could be good in some aspects, like bettering yourself, but also agreeing with Camy about it could raise some body image issues, and it definitely does.
And we have to remind ourselves that one, like you said, people are presenting their best. Literally, like when the shutdown happened and everyone had to work from home, people would just carve out a space that looked interior designed by experts, right? But the rest of their house or room was a mess, a hot mess. But you don't know that when you're looking at them via Zoom. That was like everybody was doing that. Social media is just a really big version of that to me. Okay, I have a question. We're going to move on to the next question. This one was a Camy pick, and it is: what advice would you give to younger students, specifically middle school students, people who are entering middle school, and those who are rising high school freshmen, first years? So we'll start with Camy since that was your pick.
My advice would be that you will not stay with the same friends. Like, you're not guaranteed to stay with the same friends that you've had when you're in middle school, when you're in elementary school, even when you're in high school. Like, things change over those 4 years. Both you and your friends will grow into, like, who you are and to, like, who you want to be, and maybe you're just not meant to be friends forever, and that's fine, and it's just, like, you have to, like, grow to understand that you'll have different friendships and different relationships with people, and the ones that last are the ones that like, are gonna be there by your side. That's what I would say.
The ones that last are maybe the ones where you allow each other to grow, right? Grow with
Yeah.
each other. Yeah. How about you, Justin?
My advice, like if I could go back and talk to my middle school self, I'd probably just say like be open to change or expect change, because not everything's going to like stay the same. Um, you know, when you're as you mature, you kind of like look back on like how what or the type of person that you were like in middle school, and you kind of just like, oh, I could have done that better. And I guess it's better to like try to see what you can become instead of like focusing on what you were. And if you like focus on bettering yourself, I feel like that's more important than like, you know. So if you like start thinking forward like earlier, I feel like that'll be better in the long run.
I love that. Focus on seeing what you can become instead of what you were. That's great advice. I really like that. You can make a meme of that and put Justin's name on it. Okay, this is a question from the adults. We want to know what you do with your time. You leave the house, you get to a certain age and have some, it's right before you get a license, but when you get a license, then you're just gone. You're just a puff of smoke and you're gone. You come home. We try to ask you about your day, engage, and we get nothing from you. What are you doing when you're away from us? Go ahead, Justin.
I guess. I mean, I guess what do kids usually do? Just I don't know, watch TV, do their hobbies, well, whatnot. I mean, we're out, I guess, or just hang out with friends, and then we don't. I don't know. I feel like it's just kind of like when you get home after like hanging out with your friends, and then like parents they ask you like what this and this. Like I understand where that's coming from, but like I don't know. I don't feel like there's like a connection between because like it's for me it's like transitioning from like how I present myself from one group to another, and then I have to tell that one group how I present myself to that other group, and it's I don't know, it's just a little weird to me. So that's kind of that may be like why teens are like so like reluctant to like say every single thing that happens because it's just not the same. uh I guess there's this feeling that the parents like wouldn't like understand completely, but yeah, that's my take on it.
Camy?
So half the time I'm hanging out with friends, we have absolutely no plan. Like it's pretty much we're in the same position as the parents. Like we don't know what to do. We're very bored. But I ask my mom for advice as to what we should do sometimes. So like my friends and I, we there's a lot of movie watching. There's a lot of we try to go out. There's a lot of like thrift like shopping kind of. And then recently there's been some like hiking and like going out and doing that type of stuff. So it kind of varies, but also like there will be times where we're just sitting in someone's house on our phones or just like the default also is to just go get lunch or go get dinner. But also that doesn't help when you and your friends don't really have that much money to spend on food. So that's what we do.
Okay, so I get that. And I find it fascinating that Justin mentioned that you're basically code switching when you come into the house, right? So and you're kind of exhausted. You don't feel like code switching to explain one atmosphere to another. Is that how you feel about it, Cami? Because we're like, why can't you tell us? We just are interested in you. I'm just trying to be a good mom.
Like some in some ways, yes. I know that like when I was in middle school and I would just be like, "Mom, we're going to hang out like at Emory Village or something." She'd be like, "What are you guys doing? Like, why are you doing that? Like, that's so lame." And I'm like, "Okay, well, I don't want to have to go through the like judgment of what I'm doing. I would just rather just go home and go to bed then and not tell you what I'm doing." But yeah, I think it's just kind of exhausting, I think, because like you spend this whole entire day with your friends, then you have to go home and like be the daughter in the house and like switch your mind and like tell them everything you've done. I don't know.
I hadn't thought about that, but that's good. We have an article in on our website. Somebody wrote about, and I hadn't thought about it until the article came that when you first see your student after school, whether it's the car, pool, pickup, or when they come in the door and they put down their backpack, don't jump in because they've actually had a really long day and it's a hard day, but it's a different hard than adults. And we jump on you and we're how was your day and how did the test go and stuff, and we need to give you a little bit of room first and let you catch your breath. um this is something that we talked about. I want to remind anybody, if you're watching live, that you can put your questions in here too. If you don't, that's okay, because I have a list of questions. We talked about this a little bit, but what is it that you do like doing with your family? We talked about what you do with your friends, but if you could plan a day with your family, what is it that you would like to do, or what is it that you do currently with your family that you enjoy very much? We'll start with Camy.
Me and my mom travel a lot, and like we're the like out of everyone in my family, I have a brother and my dad, and we're the two that like to go out and do stuff. So I think it kind of varies with like whoever. So like with my mom, I love to go out and like just do nature stuff, go hiking, do all that type of stuff. When my dad, he's a good person to just like stay home, watch a movie with. Altogether, I think family dinners are that's kinda like the best. I feel like that's my favorite part to do because you like force everyone to go out to the restaurant and like you're forced to have conversation and like sit there and be together. So I like that.
Yeah, so for me, I agree with Camy. Like, I feel like going out, like specifically like family dinners, I feel like that could be very useful in terms of like just building a closer relationship with your family. For me, I guess instead of like going out to like eat somewhere, I would like if I could plan a day, it would probably go to like an arcade or something because I'm like we're very competitive in my family. Like I will like take Jeopardy like super seriously, and then I like the challenge. I like the challenge of it. So if I could like go somewhere and play games with them for like a day, that would be pretty cool.
Okay. Jessica put in the comment section the article I was referencing about how was your school today. So if anybody wants to read that, the link is in the comment section. The part two of this is if you could pick one thing that you enjoy that you would like your parents to experience with you, what would it be? We talked about this when we had one of our staff meetings, like something that you do that they just are not into, or you just do it alone and you would love to have their company experiencing it with you. Justin.
For me, or anything that's like kind of semi niche or like not really as popular as like something like sports or anything. But for me, I guess professional wrestling. I've been watching professional wrestling since I was like a kid, and my parents never really got it. They just when I say, oh, there's a show in Atlanta, could I go with some friends with them? Like, oh, you're a little too old to be going to those type of events. I'm like, well, I don't know. It's kind of like I don't know. It's kind of like watching a circus live, if that makes sense, or on TV. But people will go with the, oh, it's fake route, and yeah, we know it's fake, but like movies are fake, But people still watch movies because they're entertainment. It's entertainment storytelling. But yeah, that would probably be mine. Professional wrestling.
Camy.
Um, that's actually a very hard question. I think that looking back at it now, I don't think I've ever witnessed my parents doing art. And I would love to do something along those lines with them. I think that'd be really hilarious to see and experience. Also, my dad is really just he has like a very wide collection of like CDs and he's really big on music. So maybe I would want him to I would want to be educated on their interests and like be forced to like do something that they like to do.
That is very cool. So parents, there are two things you can ask your teens. Ask them which passion of theirs that they would like to share with you, and then you have to commit to doing it. So you could get yourself in some trouble there, or at the very least in an uncomfortable position. But you also could have a lot of fun. And then the other thing, Camy's suggestion is maybe ask your teen what is it one of your passions that they would like to delve into with you, and then maybe they'll discover something. So that's two helpful things from this conversation. I have these questions. Here's one. Here's another thing that parents talk about a lot, and it's homework. especially once you get into high school, there is a lot of homework and there's a lot of discussion as to whether or not it's beneficial. It buttresses this classroom work and it makes you, understand things more. And some people believe it's busy work and it takes time away from family and extracurriculars. What are your opinions on homework? And do you think you have too much, not enough, or just the right amount? Camy.
My thoughts on homework are that, like, I think it's beneficial depending on, like, I mean, it really honestly boils down to, like, what class. Because, like, say for math, I think it's definitely beneficial to just, like, continuously have math homework because you need to be, like, learning, like, practice is what makes you understand the math problems. I do think that some teachers give busy work, but, also I guess it depends on what school you go to, 'cause I guess with, like, Paideia, like, the teachers basically just get to do whatever, like, they come up with whatever they wanna do. They get to give you however much homework they want to. So, it really depends on the classes with how much homework you have, because sometimes you're able to, like, spread it out and get it done in a timely manner, other times not so. So, I don't know, I think it varies.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think it really does. At least at our school, it depends on the teacher really. I don't. I mean, I guess if you were to assign homework, I wouldn't like. I don't think it would be like as like efficient to have more than just like maybe 30 minutes a night because you spend 6.5 hours, 7 hours at school a day. You go home, you do more work, make sure your stuff is ready for the next day, have every assignment in place, and then repeat that. And it could like lead to burnout, and also like anxiety and stuff building up. Um, but yeah, I mean, I understand uh, the intended purpose of homework, but I do think in the majority of situations it could be like better executed in terms of like getting the most efficiency out of it.
Okay, I have two more. And if anybody else has questions, please put them in. And this one comes from one of our staff members. She wants to know what are teens talking about? What is it? What are the hot button issues that you're talking about? Current events, pop culture, whatever it is. What is it that you guys are talking about when you are together doing nothing? Justin.
Um, really like what's the new show that's out right now, or the most popular show that's out right now in terms of like pop culture? Have you heard this album? Have you seen this artist? Usually stuff like that. I mean, I'm not sure what else more there is to it besides you know shows and music, but in terms of issues, I guess so the way like news is like set up, like topics like come in and out in terms of like what happened or what's the new update with that event. So like if you like use Twitter a lot and you like see what's trending, that's usually like something that I talk about. A lot of my friends are like, oh, have you seen this? Have you seen that? And then kind of like talk about it, not like as in depth as like some other things, but yeah, that's essentially it for me.
Um, with me and my friends, I think especially because it's summer, so we're, like, in and out of the state, um, a lot of times we're just talking about what's happening in our own lives, just talking about, like, what's going on with our personal selves. But when we do talk about what's happening in the news and stuff like that, it we do talk about, like, politics, like, we've talked about abortion and all that stuff. We talk about I think it kinda I don't know, I think it depends, like, if someone's watching if 2 people are watching the same show, maybe we'll talk about that, talk about I don't know, I remember my friends and I, we took, like, a small little road trip, and we listened to a podcast about the Johnny Depp and, Amber what's her last name? Her? What? I don't remember, their trial. So we listened to that on a podcast. It kind of varies about like what's kind of just going, like what's really being pushed in like literally every single social media platform. Like Instagram, Snapchat, and TikTok. So if it's like on all of those, I think it'll probably come up in a conversation. But yeah, it kind of varies depending on like our interest and what people are watching and stuff.
And is that how you're getting your news, from social media, from TikTok and from Twitter and stuff? Is that how you're getting your news, current events?
I'm not. I hope no one else is. I mean, like, the news is constantly played in my house, so, like, that's a plus, I guess. I think that, I don't think that people are getting the new like, my friends are getting the news from TikTok and all that, but I think it is, like, just a conversation starter and, like, just something that's, like, pushed to be talked about when you see it on social media.
How about you, Justin? How do you get your news?
So I don't. The news is like somewhat on in my house. It really depends. Usually it's on in the morning, but by the afternoon, not really. But usually I would like see something that's like trending. I'm like, oh, this seems interesting, and then I look into it more. Uh,
Mhm.
but I realize, a lot of times people would see like a headline or a singular post and then run with it instead of actually finding out more about the situation. Uh,
Mhm.
and yeah, so it's like a mix of both for me.
Okay. Thank you. So now we're on to the meat. What do adults need to know? What do you want us to know? What do you want us to do better? What do you want us to do less? Camy.
So I think a big thing for me would just be about like I think a lot of times, and this is such a like stereotype of teens that like adults don't understand them, but I think it's more of like I think sometimes teens can feel like their feelings are invalidated because um they haven't been living as long as adults have. They haven't been on the earth as long as adults have, so they don't have that same experience. So I think that can, like, play into so many topics, like mental health, where, like, teens sometimes feel like they're not being heard or that they're just, like, their feelings are being invalidated because they don't know what, like, the true how it truly feels to, like, I don't know, be depressed because you are not in these, like, extremely difficult situations, I guess. And another thing or it could play into, just, like, politics and stuff like that, like, trying to if you're trying to have a conversation with your parents and they're kinda shut you down because they they shut you down because 'cause you're younger and they don't feel like you know what you're talking about, even though I'm, like, the next generation to vote, so watch out.
Justin.
Yeah, for me, I guess kind of trying to build a connection in terms of like understanding like what your teen goes through or like what your teen feels about certain teen things or topics. I know like because younger people are typically like seen as like not knowing as much or not experiencing as much, that I tend to try to like overcompensate a little whenever I'm like discussing something. Like I'll try to like always be right about this thing or that thing. And so it kind of, I feel like if there's more of like a connection and understanding, that would be, or the attempt to make one, then I feel like that would be very helpful in the long run.
So more connection and less dismissal. Is that right? Okay. I am going to put up, Steve made a comment, which is pretty much for me. He says, please ask follow-up questions like, why do you think or feel that? And I had this long list of questions and we had 30 minutes. But Steve, I want you to know that in case you missed in the beginning, we are passing the mic to these two, and they're going to have an episode of this in a few weeks, all on their own. So if there is something that you really want them to go deeper on, please put it in the comment section, and they'll consider that for their show when they take over Tuesdays with Kamira in a couple of weeks. But we thank you for your interest. And if there's something specific today that you want them to go deeper on, please put it in the comment section, and we will do that right now. Any last minute comments, guys? Anything that we didn't address that you really think we should, that you think that adults raising tweens and teens should know? Nothing? We covered it all? We got it all.
All right. I was making sure I was unmuted.
Mhm.
I will say, like, respect or privacy is probably a big thing that that I think more parents should like understand or like know, because like if kids, I know like some friends of mine, they'll get upset if like someone barges to their room, and then they leave without closing back the door, and so you have to get up, go close the door, go sit back down, get comfortable. I don't know, kind of just like privacy in general. I feel like is a big thing.
I would add to the privacy and say that trust is also a big thing. Because I feel like that is the main reason as to how like some teens can feel like, or just kids can feel like they may have an overbearing parent or something like that. So I think trust goes like both ways for both the kid and the parent. And that's one thing that has to be like had like I feel like that has to be like a constant conversation. And yeah.
Steve said that he wanted to hear more about everything, not one particular question, because he's enjoying you guys. And he also makes the comment that he urged parents to say, tell me more, and then listen after they say that. Don't think about the next thing you're going to say, but listen to what your teen has said after you say, tell me more. I agree, Steve. That is a wonderful approach. What do you guys think?
I think listening is like the biggest thing, especially just like as people in general. I feel like we don't listen enough. And like it's a two-way street. Listening is such a big thing because that's how you like hear how people feel and all of that. So yeah, I completely agree with that statement.
So my takeaway from today is one, here's another tip for parents. Pay attention to what's trending on social media, because those are the things that you guys are discussing with friends, and those are the things that you decide to go deeper on when you pick up something that's trending and you're like, oh, let me learn more about this. So if you want to have some conversation bullet points for your teen, especially if you guys are in the car or something, pay attention to what's trending, because that's where they are getting their lead ideas from. And remember to ask to share their passion and ask them which passion of yours they'd be interested in, and that may be a connection point. If we can do those three things, we may have a fabulous rest of the summer. Do you guys have any takeaways that you think people should, if they can only remember one thing from your conversation today, that they should take away?
I guess be open-minded and open for discussion. It would be mine.
I would have to like completely agree with Justin. I think that's like the biggest like overall general statement you can make with all of what we've said. Is just be open-minded and be open to listen to both sides.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. If you're watching a replay, you can still put in the comment section any ideas that you have for their episode when I pass the mic to them. We may have to come up with a specific banner for you, so it doesn't say Tuesdays with Kamira when you're hosting. So please feel free to put those in the comment section, and we'll pick them up later. And I want to let you know that Camy and Justin are both artists. They're very different types of artists. And one of the things they're helping us on is they're developing a library of memes and Pinterest pins and all kinds of fun graphics for us, because we need help in that area, if you haven't noticed. And they are doing some wonderful stuff. So you'll be seeing some new stuff from us very soon, actually. So we're going to start using them very soon. And I want to thank you guys for that. We appreciate the work that you've been doing with us this summer and looking forward to some more. I want to remind everybody that if you have questions for them for the next show, put them in this comment section. We will be back next week with a different guest. It won't be our teens, but they'll be back in a couple of weeks. And we look forward to seeing you then. Thank you. Bye.